What's up, YouTube? I'm Mike. Today I'm back with a Trenbolone cycle update. I'm going to be a little bit loud on this microphone today because my wife is doing the dishes and this mic usually picks it up. So I am now 4 weeks into what was really an unexpected Trenbolone cycle. I had not set out to change my dose. What I actually intended to do was to try to reduce my doses. So for greater than 5 or so months now, 6 months, I was running 300 milligrams, I was running 500 milligrams of Test E, 300 milligrams of Masteron E, and I was running 100 milligrams of Trenbolone E, and I was feeling great, and I was loving the effects of that cycle. Unfortunately, my cholesterol levels were in the fucking stratosphere, and while I don't typically worry about that because my triglycerides are normal and there's a lot of data that you could get into, there's people, I don't think that there is a consensus in the medical community right now that steroid-induced high levels of cholesterol are necessarily indicative of future heart disease. So, but I'm not here to debate that. What I attempt to do to the best of my ability is try to find have your cake and eat it too type of steroid cycles where I can get the maximum amount of benefit for the least amount of cost to my psychological well-being or to my physical well-being. So I had set out to try to lower my cholesterol by taking 300 milligrams out of my cycle. So I was planning on cutting 300 milligrams of Test E out, going down to 200 Test E, 100 Tren E, 300 Masteron E to see if I could get my cholesterol back down into the normal range, which admittedly I thought was a lofty goal with the Masteron in there at all. DHT derivatives like Masteron tend to have a very deleterious effect on your total cholesterol levels. So that was the intention. And then over some silly little dumb shit that happened in my house, one day I got mad at my wife and decided to act like a child. And I said, fuck it, I'm just going to up my Tren dose. And so I just jumped from 100 milligrams of Tren to 300 milligrams of Tren. So for the past 4 weeks, I've been on 300 milligrams of Trenbolone E, 200 milligrams of Testosterone E, and 300 milligrams of Masteron E. If you are a veteran to this channel, you will know that I tend to lose my shit on anything above 200 milligrams of Trenbolone. If you look through my Tren rant playlist, you will see exactly what has happened to me historically when I take really anything over 200 milligrams of Tren. Admittedly, as I've said in other videos, the vast majority of the negative effects to my psyche occur in the come-up phase, which I am nearing the end of. And as you may have noticed, I have not been making psychotic, foaming at the mouth Tren rants. Now, I have been more than a little bit aggressive with some of you in the comment section, and unfortunately, I have lost about 20 or 30 snowflake fucking subscribers. And maybe this is a fucking trend talking, but don't let the fucking door hit you on the way out. Nobody gives a shit. If you're going to be a bitch snowflake, then we don't need you around here. So, nevertheless, I decided to report back on a couple of interesting things at the 4-week mark in this cycle. Number one, like I just said, I'm not having any problem controlling the Trenbolone anger side effect, which is very exciting to me because it was what my wife and I agreed upon when I confessed to her that I had increased my dose. She was like, that's it, I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. No, I'm kidding. She didn't say that, but she probably thought it. She was like, fuck, here we go again. And I told her, I was like, look, I want you to keep me honest this time. So I'm not going to reiterate everything, but she's been the one giving me my shots. She does my Tren injections, and she agreed that she would only give me my shot if she felt like that I was managing all of the symptoms. And so she, with the exception of one shot, she has been like, things are going great. I guess, right, dear? Things are going great. Things are going great. So one of the things that I have been toying with during this particular come up is something that I think I might turn into a t-shirt. Some of you guys have been asking for merch in the comment section. I've been kind of working on like this Tren Dictionary because there's all these like little made up trend words that people have, and I've added some to the list. You know, like Trensomnia. One of the ones I've been using lately is called Trenscuses. One of the things that I've noticed that really plays into my particular amount of aggression on Trenbolone is that I make a lot of excuses for my behavior on Tren. I make Trenscuses. So like the other night I walked into the fucking kitchen, and this has been irritating me for the past coincidentally 4 weeks. I can't recall being upset about this in the past, but my lovely, amazing wife slaves away in the kitchen, and she makes me these chicken breasts that she then shreds and puts into a container so that I can have meal prep, but I still have to weigh it. Holy shit, you know, she's got one lump sum, and I get to weigh out how much that I want to use. And when I walk into the kitchen, I want to fucking weigh out the chicken on the island in our kitchen that you may have seen in some of my videos. And it's like every single day this week, I walk into the fucking kitchen and the scale that I left on the island is no longer on the island. And I can just feel the fucking anger rising inside me. I don't understand this. And I literally was like, is the scale a problem? Like, why do you keep moving it off the fucking island? You know, obviously I use it here. I keep leaving it here. And she's like, well, yeah, it was in the way. I was preparing some fucking meal, which of course goes all over me because I've never prepared a single meal in my entire life that would take up the size of the island. Sarah's favorite thing to do when she is cooking is to try to strategically find some way to use every single square inch of cabinetry, countertop in the entire kitchen. It's mind-blowing to me. So we're having this conversation, and I feel the aggression rising, and so I want to say, this is unreasonable. I'm angry because she won't leave my fucking scale alone. But that's a Trenscuse. See, that's me blaming her for agitation that I know is being caused by the Tren. Any other time that I walked into the fucking kitchen, it would just be, I would just be like, oh, where's the, I would understand that there's two of us living in this house, and then maybe she cleaned the countertop and moved it. Maybe she prepped a meal. There's a million things that could have gone on that would justifiably lead to her moving the fucking scale that I weigh my meat on, and I would have been able to cope with that and understand that. But I was ready to blow up over it, and that's the Tren talking. And so in cycles past, I would easily get sucked into those justifications. Like last night I'm in the fucking gym, and it was the closest I've been in a long time to thinking I was gonna fucking assault somebody. I'm in the fucking gym, and I counted, for the purposes of this video, there are 90 fucking lockers inside the Planet Fitness that I've been working out at for reasons that don't matter in this video. And so I go and get to my locker, and I put my fucking, I had a protein water, I put it down in front of the fucking locker that I'm getting ready to get into, and I turn around to shoot a video, to shoot the pose down video that I posted last night. And you may notice at the end of that video that some fucking guy walks into the gym. Well, what he does is he walks in and into my, actually I shot the video again when he fucking left. He walked in front of my fucking video, and then of the 90 fucking lockers in the gym, this fat fuck is going to use the locker immediately adjacent to mine and block me from being able to get into my shit. And I just flashed the second that I saw it. And so I walk over, and my bottle of protein water is now sitting directly near his fucking gym bag, and I just kind of snatched it real hard like that. And he's probably about 5'6". This guy's probably in his middle 50s. He was not like a tiny guy. He looked like he might have been a brawler. I think he had like a military tat on his leg. He definitely looked like he lived a tough life. But I felt very confident that if I fucking stuck him in his fucking jaw, he was going to go down with one punch. I wasn't thinking this was going to be much of a fight. And I'm being honest, like I was calculating, I'm about to sock this fucking dude in the face. And so he kind of pauses after I snatch the bottle, and he turns around and he literally looks at me. He kind of scans down my body and back up, and he goes, sorry, dude. If I don't use the same locker every time, I just forget where my shit is. And I could feel my blood boil. And then I was like, no. Yes, what he just said is the stupidest fucking thing possible. How can you forget what locker you used when I was watching him put his lock on the locker? I don't give a fuck if there's 90 lockers in there. It doesn't take but 3 seconds to look at every locker and figure out which one's got your shit in it. He was just bullshitting, trying to make an excuse for the fact that he was a total dickhead. And literally of all of the 90 lockers, he chose to put his shit right next to mine and block me from having access. And so you can hear the trend in my voice. And when this kind of shit happens on a trend cycle, what I normally say to myself is, this is not fair to blame the trend. This was a categorically stupid fucking thing to do. Like, what kind of a moron would do this? But the reality is, the level of my anger about what was categorically a dumb fuck ass thing to do was being driven by the trend. Like, I was ready to catch a charge over this. Like, I'm just sitting, and you know how the trend has you do, where you're cold calculating, and you're playing the whole fucking thing out, and you're seeing all the angles, and I could just feel my arm kind of like trying to lift on its own. And so, but I pulled it down, and so he apologizes, and I feel the blood boil, and I just said, hey man, it's cool. No big deal. Take your time. And it sucked because I wanted to punch him in the face, but it's better. I'm glad that I didn't. I'm sitting here making a video about how I'm learning to control my trend aggression, rather than my wife making a video about how I'm sitting in county again on some new fucking charges so I can have another sob story fucking criminal case to tell about. And so the thing of it is, what allowed me to get my grip in that moment is this decision that I've made, this promise that I've made to myself, to always view any situation that occurs while I'm on trend from the least offensive position possible. Because the trend is going to convince you that this person did this shit to punk you, to fuck up your day. He's trying to come at you. He's calling you a bitch. Like, it tells you all of that shit. And so in order to combat that, you have to go completely to the opposite side of the spectrum. And so you have to come up with ways to where no matter what somebody else, because you just cannot trust your own thought processes on this compound. It will find, the Trenscuses will find a way to convince you that the behavior that you're having is justified, and that shit will not help you protect the cycle. So thankfully, I protected the cycle, and I didn't do shit, and I'm here to tell the tale. So, that's how I'm coping psychologically thus far. My sleep is hammered, but I've got some new meds on board, and 80% of the time that's been working. Unfortunately, I've been sleeping too late in the day and then trying to go to bed too early at night, and that's a total loss. So I'm having to force myself out of bed a little bit earlier than I really want to get out of bed, so that I can definitely be tired at night, so that the meds can do their job. Now, for the last part of this video, that you may have noticed in the title where I said Trenbolone is healthier than testosterone. I made the entire video on the subject, and I'm probably going to make it again just because it's old and I didn't do it. It was before I really got comfortable with the camera. So there's very little data. When you go to research Trenbolone, one of the reasons that there's so much bro science out there is because these bros, you know, like, what's Jewett's first name? John Jewett, who is this world-renowned coach, can continue to parrot dumbass shit like Trenbolone is hepatotoxic, and it's not, and I've proven it. So the bro science gets perpetuated, and it stays alive in our community because there's no scientific data to refute it. And so because Tren's never been legal in America, so there's no good legal data in America on human beings, and it was only used as Primobolan amps in France for some short little period of time, and best of luck digging up that research. And so all we have really available to us is anecdotal reports, and there are some limited fucking studies that I found, and one particular one goes into its usage in, I believe, male Worcester rats. What they wanted to find out is a low dose of Trenbolone better than a high dose of testosterone? Because of the fact that testosterone is not tissue selective, it converts to DHT. DHT causes all kinds of problems in the body, like prostate hypertrophy, hair growth, hair loss. There's a number of things that DHT can do in the body. They did a study with these male Worcester rats to look at a variety of things. They looked at cholesterol, they looked at liver enzymes, they looked at blood pressure, I believe, they looked at the prostate gland, they looked at a variety of factors, and like I said, I may do a whole video on this, but what they found, in fact, was that low doses of Trenbolone were better at producing muscle growth and whatever else that they were trying to study than high doses of Tren, with less deleterious effects. So it had less of a negative impact on the lipid panels. It had less of a negative impact on benign prostate hypertrophy, to name a few. And so what they found was that, again, Tren is actually safer than testosterone, no matter what some dumb fuck at your gym has told you. That it's safer than high doses of testosterone. So what we should expect to see now that I'm on 300 milligrams of Tren E, 200 milligrams of Test E, and 300 milligrams of Masteron is that if that is in fact true, we should see some, hopefully, reduction in my biometric panel. Although, admittedly, I'm not on a low dose of Tren. So that's what I wanted to find out. When I was on the 500 milligrams of Test, 100 milligrams of Tren, 300 milligrams of Masteron, my cholesterol was as high as 259 nanograms per deciliter. We are now at the 4-week mark, so a lot of that excess test has run out of my system, and the Tren is nearing peak serum concentration. It's going to continue to rise for the next couple of months. But I did a cholesterol check last night and found out that my cholesterol has dropped from 259 nanograms per deciliter to 232 nanograms per deciliter. So a little bit more than a 20-point difference there in a relatively short period of time. What I'm hoping to see is that number continues to fall. If I can manage to get my cholesterol into the normal range on 300 milligrams of Tren, 300 milligrams of Masteron, which is known to hammer your cholesterol, and 200 milligrams of testosterone, which is in fact a super physiological dose for me, then maybe we will have a situation where, and I'm not saying that I would run this long term, but we would have a blast scenario that people could use for cutting purposes, potentially even bulking purposes, or just look good on the beach, or just to get that really chiseled, peeled aesthetic, and still fall within all of those target biometrics that ideally we want to stay within. So somebody asked in one of my pose down videos the other day what my weight was doing. Since I started the Tren at 300 milligrams, my weight has actually come down. So you guys are like, damn bro, you look like you gained 10 pounds overnight. And in fact, my nighttime weight has dropped from, it usually hovers around 197 all the way up to 200 if I really get a good day of eating. And last night it dropped down to about 195. So I asked my wife if my body was looking different to her, because one of the sneaky things that my body does that makes it hard for me to track my body weight when I'm down sub 10%. Somebody's gonna go, no you're not. Yes, I have a body scan to prove it. Last time I had a body scan, I was at 9.4% body fat, and I was nowhere near as lean as I am now. But nevertheless, my body stores fat in my lower back that I can't see. And so when I start to bulk, I'll be watching my abs, looking for any changes in ab definition, and I'll see my weight going up, and I'll be looking at my abs, and I'll be like, hey, everything's good. And in fact, it's not good because for whatever reason, my body will dump a little bit of fat onto my quads and my upper ass cheeks and my lower back, places that are not real easy for me to tell. And so my wife was like, yeah, you're definitely looking shredded all the way around. Like your lower back is buried. So I start pinching skin, everywhere to check. And I am, in fact, getting into a very Trensthetic. It's another one of my Tren Dictionary words. I definitely have that Trensthetic, appeal going for me right now. So that's where we're at the 4-week mark of this particular trend cycle. I think I've got the psychological game beaten. It looks like my biomarkers are recovering. I'll continue to track that and see where it's at. And then the other thing was last night in the gym, the strength just came out of the blue. One of the other really tricky things about Trenbolone is it's kind of like if you've ever taken LSD or something. LSD takes a really long time to kick in. And so you drop your paper or whatever it is that you're ingesting, and 30 minutes goes by and you're looking for any signs and symptoms, and no, I don't think. And another 10 minutes goes by, and right about the time you start thinking that you just got sold some bad shit is when it fucking slaps you in the face and you're like, holy fuck. Tren can be similar in that when you start taking Trenbolone in sufficient doses, a lot of the negative side effects like the sleep or the sweats or the aggression will come on. And so you'll think, oh shit, the Tren's active in my system. But the muscle is slow to get the message for some reason. I don't know if it's gene expression, what all has to take place for the androgen, those long estered androgen doses to finally make their way into the muscle tissue. But right about that 4-week mark, when you're starting to go, man, I'm having all these side effects, but I'm not really seeing the strength. And then you pick up a 45-pound plate and you think it's 25. And it's like, oh shit. And so last night was the first time in quite a while that I started going up on all my lifts. So finally, the Trenbolone has landed in full effect. I'm a sexual deviant. I might make a video about that. You can obviously tell because I'm back at it on the fan sites. It's worth mentioning, I keep getting asked about OnlyFans. I think I'm getting ready to sue OnlyFans. They will not let me post couples content on there anymore, despite the fact that I set the account up as my account with my wife as the secondary participant. They seem to have some penis envy at OnlyFans, and they only want to let me post content of my wife. So I think we're getting ready to delete the OnlyFans altogether. We have a Fansly account, which in my estimation is much better. And then we just did a Fancentro account, which currently is on discount because all of the content is not there. So if you want to get a taste of the kind of content we're making, then you can go over to Fancentro and check it out at a slightly discounted rate. And I would highly recommend that you do that because we're sexy as shit, obviously. So also, if you're looking for those links, I added Sarah's sexier Instagram link to the bottom of my channel page. It's like a lot of lingerie, boudoir kind of stuff, if that's what you're into. And her X account has also been linked there. And both of those accounts have her link tree, which will be constantly updated with all of the shit that we have going on, whether it's merch or fan sites or whatever. You can find all of that on those links. So go give her some follows. And you can see the other side of my wife that's not sitting here prim and proper telling you all about her hormone protocols. What you might also be seeing next is Sarah is flirting with the idea of going on a Primo cycle of her own. So if she does that, then I will definitely have her sit down in front of this camera and spell out the details of what she's experiencing, because there is a massive shortage in the bodybuilding world for that kind of content. And so I think the ladies in the world could definitely benefit from her insight. Last but not least, before we leave, because somebody in the comments is going to ask me, what the fuck is that on your wall? That has actually been there in every one of those videos. It was, in fact, the result of one of my old trend meltdowns where I carved the word do into the fucking wall in my office. And I have just recently tried to start the repair process. So hopefully in the next video, you won't be able to see it at all because I got some paint to go over that spackling. So before somebody asks, that's why there is some weird symbol on the wall back there. So there you have it. Check out all of the fucking links on my channel page. Subscribe to all of our filthy sites. Don't subscribe to this channel because anytime somebody tells you to subscribe to a YouTube channel makes me want to lose my mind. But for real, do whatever the fuck you want to do. Let's all be free citizens and enjoy our lives. And as always, we will see you on the next one.